Welcome back to the Deep Threats podcast. Apparently, somebody wanted to keep me on mute as I'm screaming my head off over here. He doesn't know to unmute me first over himself.
I'm more important. I control the board.
So all right, that being said, it is... I'm going to talk right over him right now. He knows it's my intro. But yeah, he's still going to speak and mumble and did it. I beat you to it. That being said, hey guys, it is week 7 of the NFL. It is Thursday night football. We are here before Thursday night football, as always, every Thursday, Monday, and Saturday this week. Normally Sunday mornings we will be live, but we are going to do Saturday shows before the Saturdays, and then we'll get into a holiday season schedule coming up. But that being said, you have me, the master picker.
Yeah, you've been hot
here tonight, KJAM, and always my co-host.
Hello, it is Hot Take Wheels. I am here.
Hot Takes is an understatement.
Yeah, just a little. Wheels Hot Takes.
You know what, though? There's a lot of people that had the Chargers favored in that game.
Yeah, that was...
Which kind of... I told you that Dallas defense...
Both teams, I felt
both defenses actually played well, and I harassed the hell out of the Chargers.
We both did, so that was the thing I was going to say. Both defenses outperformed their other 5 weeks that they played, and the offenses kind of underperformed, I would have to say. It was a flip-flop game. You know, some of these, I feel like a lot of these primetime games this year have been kind of low-scoring games.
You remember me saying
it's close?
Dak had to score throw 220. Did you know he had 165 at the half?
Did he really? Jeez. I did.
He only had 272 by the end of that game.
I did say Herbert would throw a late interception, though.
You did.
That was just really
and
late.
I said Herbert. I don't even know if I gave him an interception on the game.
You said
I gave Dak 2.
Yeah,
I gave Dak 2.
And you said there's no way, and I said he's going to have a late interception.
But, so that came out today. Did you see that stat? That stat line for Herbert? So in the first 4 starting careers of Justin Herbert, he has outthrown a quarterback on interceptions in the final drive of the game by 5 interceptions. So Herbert, in crunch time, makes mistakes. It's what it boils down to. No, you're good. I thought you were looking it up. No,
I'm looking up the last week's stats so I can.
I got them right here.
So a guy that we thought would go off really didn't do anything.
Pollard shit the bed. I said Pollard would probably have over 50 or 60. He did not. All those out there that are listening to us today, yeah, that bet of rushing yards over was a flop.
So let me just go out and say this real quick. So we're going to take us back real quick to the draft. You remember a guy from TCU that everybody loved? They loved him always. He's getting the next great, wide receiver. Ryan.
Quentin Johnston?
Yeah, Ryan.
We all hated him.
Yeah, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I know. But Ryan is, if I had to choose a guy that I was going to stick with for draft info, Ryan is the best dude on the show.
He's pretty accurate.
He said that Quentin Johnson is literally Calvin Benjamin 2.0. And he has been spot on this entire time.
Yeah.
The dude had 0 receptions for 0 yards. And he played, I think, 68%.
But Palmer stepped up, man.
Yeah, but he played 68% of the snaps. You're a first-round pick, and the guy that was in front of you went down, and that's when you're supposed to shine. This kid is just treading water. People are already calling him a bust. I'm not going to go that far.
I don't like to call someone a bust at the beginning of the year.
Like I said, I like to give receivers, same as quarterbacks, 2 or 3 years, just, a lot of these guys struggle. Not everybody's going to be JJ and just
It's also a very good
Jamar.
defense to be playing up against.
Yeah.
I don't care if you get the third corner on that defense. It's still a pretty good defense. But I will say, remember who I said would get the touchdown? Gerald Everett?
Yeah. Keenan Allen got the first touchdown.
I know.
You said any time was.
Did I not tell you though that it was supposed to be 2 first drives would be touchdowns? The Cowboys flopped, but then their next drive they got a touchdown, so it was the second and third drives were touchdowns.
That sucks.
Chargers came down the field, touchdown. After the Dallas Cowboys kicked the punt, and then once the Chargers scored, Dallas then scored the touchdown on a 40-yard run by Dak.
Yeah. Although, my league has league median along with, obviously, you win your week. I won the league median because
your average?
My average because of the kick by Brandon Aubrey. That field goal. I was like,
that's a kicker that might be available, by the way, in a lot of leagues that I might look into.
I didn't drop him. He's on my bench this week on the bye. I never do that with kickers. I love this kid. I mean, he is accurate. I think he's made every field goal.
This year he has made every single. I think it was like 16 for 16.
Yeah, dude, I mean, he's a 28-year-old rookie, from Australia, but
he's from the land down under.
Yeah, the land down under.
That's not how that goes. Do you come from the land down under?
We can't play the music.
Race, you taking the Jags to win tonight? Hey, I'm not doing. Hold on.
That. You're not controlling.
You're not doing that tonight to us. That's not happening. We were covering Monday's game, going over it, and then we're gonna get into head coaches, and then we're gonna get into the game.
It's like dessert. You just have to wait, man.
Killed us that last show. I listened to it. I was laughing my ass off listening to it on the receiving end, and I was like, these guys are all over the place.
But we love it. We love when you guys get in chat. We love when you guys are, talking with us. We always try to read, obviously. Everybody chats. We pretty much do. But we love when you guys interact with us, not only on the Facebook pages and Discord and Twitter, but also in show. It's great for, I think, the show itself.
It's more about a community for us. It's more of a community for us, too, man. I like talking football to a lot of people, and me and Wheels, this is I didn't know Wheels, but 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe.
Yeah,
and it was through a friend of a friend to join the show, and it's because you started in chat, and then you ended up on the show.
And you would say, well, this kid knows the shit. And
he knew his gambling.
My dad called
We're going to have some conversations about some of his other shit, but he knew his gambling.
My dad called me Monday after we did our show. He's like, I don't understand how you have so much knowledge of football. I said, it's just something I do. It's just something I always latched onto. I could talk football all day long.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, and I'm wrong on stats sometimes, but when it comes to what I see on the field that I test for certain players in certain situations, I think I enjoy that.
Yeah, so
because I enjoy the non-analytical side. I pride myself on reading people outside of the analytics, but I do enjoy the analytics. Yeah,
I try to do both. I'll take some crazy takes, but I have no problem saying I was wrong about stuff.
Yes, I'm taking the Jags tonight.
I'll always say where I was wrong. With Trevor Lawrence, I've said it multiple times. I thought he was going to be bust. He's proved me wrong.
Yeah, T-Law, man. I mean, I don't even know if he's not a bust. That's obvious.
No,
he's not a bust.
He's not a bust. The dude,
I just don't know if he is what he was supposed to be still, because there is a lot of inconsistency in his play.
I think that has to do with the way they're calling that offense, because a lot of the games...
Who calls that offense?
Doug Peterson. So if you look,
Is Doug Peterson a top 10 coach for you?
Yeah, he is actually. He's 7 for me.
All right. Ooh, 7. That's high.
So you're going to hate my top 10.
All right, let's go over it, because I don't have a list today, so give me your top 5.
My top 5. Oh,
well, how about this? Give me your number one. Oh, that's hard. Give me your number one overall. I'm assuming it's going to go Shanahan right now.
Yeah, even with the loss to the Browns, it's got to be Shanahan. He didn't lose that game.
No, his kicker did, but his accidents happened.
Yeah,
I'm not blaming it on the kicker. No, Cleveland is a very hard place to kick field goals in. So, all right. So we'll probably both agree with Shanahan's number one, right? Yeah. So with all the youth in head coaching, where would you put your number two? Who's your number two coach? And mind you, this is like this year,
my
right?
Number two is Mike McDaniel out of Miami. And a lot of people say, like, hop out. You know, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Raheem Mostert, you have Tua, you have Jalen Waddle. Guess what? You still have to call that offense where it works, and it's working right now. That team is one of the most potent offenses in the NFL that I have seen in the last 12 years that I have watched football this close. I have not seen an offense that has been this, like, just out of the gate, you know, running downfield, slinging it downfield.
But where's his defense?
He's not a defensive guy.
I don't care. You're the head coach.
Yeah, but he doesn't call both ends of the ball.
No, but he has to keep people accountable.
I get it, but again, that offense, I'll take.
Like the reason Shanahan is the guy is number 2 defense, number 1 offense, like, or number 2 defense, number 2 offense. Like
100%,
his whole team functions very well.
I get it.
So like that's why I give that guy the number 1 slot. Like if I had to go pick a number 2, and this would be my defense for a number 2.
And this is just this year. This isn't all time. This is
not all time. If we do all time coaches, like obviously half these guys wouldn't even be on a list.
This is through weeks, 6 weeks of play this year.
Yeah, I think for 2 for me, and I know it sounds crazy, but you probably have him at 3 is Sirianni, the Eagles head coach.
He's low.
You got him low for you, really? I think
he's 4.
I think for someone to lose his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator, come into the year and get a whole new offensive coordinator and a whole new defensive coordinator, and still have a stout defense and still have a productive offense, and only be 5-1. You're going to tell me that you don't have him at 2? He's literally doing exactly what Shanahan's done.
He's at 3.
You said 4.
4. Yeah, sorry. 4.
I was going to say, like...
No, he is at 4.
Okay.
He's at 4.
So who's your 2? You said was...
2 was...
You said 2 was Mike McDaniel.
3 is Dan Campbell. This guy...
See, I would probably put Dan Campbell over...
Nick Sirianni. Sorry. I would.
See, here's...
But again, so...
Well, no, Dan and Sirianni for me are like flip-flop. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I would put... It's 3 and 4. I was thinking Dan at 2... Sirianni at 3, but Sirianni has had more wins under his belt with that team, and Dan Campbell did not have a good defense last year.
No, and his defense has been reimagined this year.
Right. So that's why I would put Dan Campbell at 3, and then I would put Mike McDaniel at 4. Okay. And the reason being is because ever since Mike McDaniels has been there, there's been no defense.
No, not at all. There hasn't been much of a defense.
And it's great that he's an offensive line, but defense wins championships.
Not Anthony Lynn. Who was the old head coach there that tried to sue him?
Oh, the dude up in Minnesota, defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was more of the guy.
I said he was the reason
for the defense, at least.
I said he was the reason Minnesota will win that division, and he has not turned any of those defensive players around, which is driving me insane. I can't remember his name right now because he was in Pittsburgh last year. What is his name? All the head coaches are in my head right now. I'm trying to look it
up. I can't.
Just look Minnesota defensive coordinator. So how about this? I'll give you my 5, and my 5 might be a little bit wacky because I'm looking through them right now, and if I had to put a 5 up there, this might sound a little crazy, but I think I got to put. He's a first-year head coach.
It's hard. DeMeco Ryans.
I think I got to put DeMeco Ryans up there.
I'm happy. He's 5.
I have him a 5, right? Yeah, because I got Mike McDaniel. So we both have him at 5. I think I got to put DeMeco Ryans is taking his offense and it's slowly producing every week better and better and better and better.
Yeah. His
defense is coming in hot. Like I think he's holding teams under 20 points a game. So his defense is doing phenomenal. He's now winning games that he wasn't. There's many people that had the Texans in last place in their division. They're fighting for first place for their division. If the Jags lose tonight and the Colts lose Sunday, the Texans are in first place in their division. So this will be
the problem with a lot of people's judgment on the Texans is, they're 3-3. But if you look at the way that team has been
They started 0-2 though, right?
Yeah. So if you look at the way that team's been structured since they've gone 0-2, you got to think. So let's go back. They had Deshaun Watson. They had that whole breakup with Deshaun Watson. Then they had the breakup with Lovie Smith, right? So they restart everything.
They threw Lovie under the bed.
Yeah.
But that was end of the season
last year.
2-15.
Yeah, because they screwed the first pick.
So
but
3
and
15.
They still got their guy, C.J. Stroud. So you draft C.J. Stroud. You draft Will Anderson. You still have you drafted Tank Dell late, who again another guy that
all those people are on the field and just showing up.
And they're all showing up. Robert Woods, I wasn't a huge fan of. He still shows up pretty well.
The signing of Dalton Schultz in the offseason.
He has come into his own. Like we said, it would take a couple weeks to make that connection with.
Well, it takes a couple weeks for a rookie quarterback to even get used to the speed.
Yeah,
and even Ryan said, like, if you look at the Ohio State history for C.J. Stroud, it took him 3 to 4 weeks to start coming on. Like, he has a catch-up speed, and it takes him a minute. So I really like D'Amico. So we both have him in the same spot. It's not even an argument.
We love D'Amico going there because he fit the mold of the Texans.
Don't say we. Don't take my take.
You did. No,
I said it before he went there.
You did, but as soon as he went there, I loved it.
I was like, D'Amico going back to the team he was from. I was like, D'Amico's going to Houston. It just makes too much sense.
And before they had D'Amico Ryans, I was huge on them drafting defense and waiting next year for
the Will Anderson thing.
But this was before the This was before the
trade and all that stuff.
And this was before the Georgia Ohio State game where C.J. Stroud showed he could be an elite level quarterback. And he can be.
C.J. Stroud, the coach, they lost that game, not C.J. Stroud.
And I'm a huge Ohio State fan, and I did not believe in this kid a lot. I liked him. I just didn't see him as a top 5 pick until that Georgia game. And
just an FYI.
He took that team on his back and tried to win.
This is the NFL or the Fox NFL coach ranking. So, by the way, Andy Reid is at 1. Kyle Shanahan is at 2. Mike Tomlin's at 3. Sean McVay's at 4.
Some of those guys aren't even on my list.
Well, so Andy Reid's obviously going to go 6 to me. I probably should actually. Andy Reid should be 5.
Andy Reid 6.
Andy Reid should be 5 for me. I'll put D'Amico at 6.
I don't think you're gonna like mine,
but then 7
is Doug Peterson for me.
I don't think so. Actually, you know who will go up here, and it's the guy they hate. They hate him. It's gonna go Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh.
He's coached an elite defense, and he's won games and almost made it to the playoffs, and he's never had a quarterback.
He's 9 for me. Robert Saleh's 9.
And we're talking this year again. Belichick was not going to be in this list because Belichick is.
I'm sorry. He's 8. I'm a freaking idiot. He's 8.
Okay. Yeah, and Pete Carroll I want to put in this list too.
Pete Carroll's
10. Pete Carroll I'll put at 8.
Pete Carroll's 10.
I'll put John Harbaugh at 9, and I would put Sean McVay at 10.
So here's my. I'm going to go over my
top 10. Go for it.
10.
Yeah, go for it.
So 1 is Kyle Shanahan, 2 Mike McDaniel, 3 Dan Campbell, 4 Sirianni, 5 D'Amico Ryans, 6 Andy Reid, 7 Doug Peterson, 8 is Robert Saleh, 9 is John Harbaugh, and 10 is Pete Carroll. Because I know
Pete Carroll has to be in there.
And John Harbaugh does, because even with all these injuries on the Ravens,
he's still coaching
a playoff
team.
They're an elite team almost every year.
Pete Carroll has to be in there. John Harbaugh has to be in there. Sean McVay has to be in there.
Yeah, and it's nothing against Sean McVay for the top 10 for me. And Mike Tomlin. But let's be honest, the reason they
look what Sean McVay did with Baker.
That's for like 3 or 4 games.
I get it.
I understand, but I'm saying
you had your number one receiver out. You don't have a running back because apparently
you can't draft one.
Well, it's not even that.
Stay healthy.
Cam Akers, there was something apparently internally wrong with ownership in Cam.
I mean, maybe, but let's be honest. The reason that Andy Reid's number 1 here is because it's the Fox NFL, and it's the Chiefs. It's an easy out.
The reason Andy Reid's number 1, no, it's not
an easy out. Yes, it is.
I don't think so. I think the reason. Well, why would you put Bill Belichick at 10?
Because he's popular and he's being talked about. He's always going to be on the list.
No. If the purpose was like Belichick should first things first. If this was an all-time head coach ranking,
Belichick is 1. I don't care what anybody says.
Belichick is 1 or 2, right? Like 1 or 2. 1 or 2.
Who's 2?
Current coaching all times.
Oh, current coaching all time.
It would have to be current coaching all time.
Is Andy Reid,
right? But I'm just saying, like Tomlin's not. No.
Tomlin is their defense.
And I'm going to be honest, I'll argue all day about Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson had a great end of the year last year. Why did that not carry over to this year? A coach that did the same thing was Stefanski. But he couldn't carry over his success from the previous year, and he did the same thing this year.
Their heads were too big, and they had trouble. They started out slow. I think they're fine. And we'll get into it. I don't think they win tonight, and I still have them at 7.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get into it. So let's get into it.
Let's do injury first.
Thursday night football. T-Law is playing, from what I've heard.
T-Law is playing. He's not out. The injuries.
Jamal Williams, as announced by, I think, Shefty, right?
He is playing.
Said that Jamal Williams is looking to be on the field tonight, so he might take some snap counts from Alvin Kamara. I don't know
I would not start him. Do not start him, please.
I wouldn't say that. Again, red zone threat. If they're in the red zone and Alvin Kamara can't push the ball, they're going to put Jamal Williams in. And I think the only reason they put Jamal Williams in the IR was just to keep him healthy longer because they knew Kamara was coming back.
And you still have that rookie, Kendra Miller. So here's the injury report.
Yeah, their whole running back room's healthy now.
Yeah. The injury report for the Jags. Tyson Campbell, cornerback, out. Defensive tackle, Davon Hamilton, out. And wide receiver, Zay Jones, is out. Questionable are Trevor Lawrence and Brandon Schaefer. Or Sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
Offensive lineman. And then the Saints out are Jawan Johnson, JT Gray, Landon Young, James Hurst, Ryan Ramczyk. So you have 3 offensive linemen out.
Yeah, and this is where the Saints have been struggling.
So this is going to be a hard game to get the run game going.
Because if you look at I disagree. Actually, you said
questionable are Demario Davis, Lonnie Johnson, Tyrann Mathieu, and Jamal Williams. But they pretty much said Jamal Williams will play. He's just going to be on a very small and limited snap count.
Jacksonville is the 3rd best rushing defense in the NFL. They allow 3.6 yards per carry.
That's it?
That's it, man. I mean, that's not that high. That's like 8th overall. But when you look at rushing yards per game, 75.3 rushing yards per game is what they give up. But here's what I will tell you. That's probably not a good stat, is they give up an 84.1 QBR, which is in the back 15. So they don't get pressure on the quarterback like they should. 12 sacks on the season, which is pretty good. And third down percentage at stopping, 40, which is fairly decent. Top 15. And then they possess the ball. And this is actually telling because they have ETN. They should be possessing the ball a lot. They're actually worse, bottom 6 in the league for time of possession.
So this is where I want to go with the way that I think that you say they're struggling on offense. This is another team that I think doesn't really know their mold yet, is because a lot of the times they'll go heavy passing and then heavy rushing. It's either a heavy passing game or it's a Travis Etienne game.
Well, Etienne's in the pass.
That's where they
Etienne is in the pass.
Yeah, but it's a lot of one or the other. They do a lot of checkdowns or they throw it down the field line. They just need to mesh a lot of this, and I think that's where they're having issues.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that you do that because you have two different. When you're playing different defenses, you have to have different points of attack.
But I think this is where you're missing that. I mean, I love Travis Etienne. He's not a bowling ball back. He's more of a Alvin Kamara type of guy, pass it down and he can go. I think
I'd go more Swift than Kamara, but I understand what you're saying.
Swift. I was using Kamara because they're playing the Saints, so I was trying to. But yeah, Swift 100%. But they need a lot of. I feel like they need a guy like not necessarily a Nick Chubb, but a guy like Nick Chubb.
You know what's funny? Etienne always reminded me of Darren Sproles. And I was just maybe it's because I'm a huge Darren Sproles fan. Maybe it's because I'm a huge Darren Sproles fan.
No, I don't hate that. That's not a bad comp. Darren Sproles was good.
No, Darren Sproles was very shifty and he was versatile. He was anywhere you needed him to be.
He was a gadget back.
Yeah, anywhere you need him to be, he would be.
Yeah, I like that comp a lot more. He's a gadget back.
So how about this one? This is at home for the Saints, right?
Yes.
The Saints are favored by 1.5. I know you're not liking that one because it's at home, and you said under 3, take the home team.
Get the fly.
Nope.
Damn it.
I tried.
I'm sorry.
All right, under 3, take the home team.
The ADHD took over.
The over-under on this is 40.5. I would probably take the over.
I would take the over
just because the Houston Texans played the Saints, and it was 20-25, I think.
We've been wrong.
Which was the over. Well, no, which was the over. I don't know.
So
I have been very accurate.
Yeah,
I think I missed 3 games out of like 14 or something like that.
So with all these offensive line injuries, I would have to, as much as I want to take the Saints, I think I'm going to take the Jags by 3. I think they win by 3.
I think the Jags have been heating up. I like Jacksonville.
Ever since that Buffalo game, they seem to have found better
since
footing.
London.
Yeah, they seem to have found better footing.
Ever since they played on their home field, finally.
Their second home field in London?
Yeah, their first home field.
That is correct.
I think that I like Jacksonville. They're the underdogs going to this game, which I think is crazy, and I think a lot of people will say that is crazy.
Yeah, it is. So
just because you're away? The Saints haven't put up more than... I don't think the Saints have put up more than 20 points in a game.
Honestly, Chris Olave is having trouble separating, I feel like, this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. They are playing good defenses.
Yeah, he's having issues separating, and that's where you have other than last week, you have Michael Thomas across the middle. That's why he's getting a lot of those looks. And now you have that Rashid Shaheed guy, who has been a very good number 3.
The Saints' average is 18.2 points per game.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're just not putting up points.
And what are the Jags putting up? They're probably putting up 22.
23 points a game.
So that's
23.7, almost 24.
That's where your 40 is for the over-under. It's right there.
That's 42. But that's 42.
That's what I'm saying. So that's where you're averaging out the over-under. So I would take the over because I know, like we said, a lot of these primetime games have been...
The Saints give up 16 points per game.
Saints give up,
and Jacksonville gives up 20 points per game.
So it's pretty much it averages out just about the same. You're averaging about.
It'll average that's what 36 to 42 is 39 and a half, roughly. So 39.
That's where you're right there with that's how Vegas comes up with these over unders. It's not as hard as people realize. They look at average. It's all analytics.
We broke it for you. We all know.
It's all analytics. It's
and the home give them the 1.5. That's it. It's right there. It's a 1.5.
That's the home field advantage.
The home field advantage gave them the 1.5.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not.
If that's the way they come up with it, that is horrible. That is horrible.
It is.
That is horrible.
We'll look at another game on Saturday.
We'll have to break that down a little more. So can the Saints win this game? 100%. 100%.
There's no reason. Both these teams can easily win this game. The problem is who's going to give the game away. And I think the
Saints are going to give the game away. You think Derek Carr's just going to throw the interception?
I think it's going to be...
I think they both average the same amount of interceptions when you look at both of them.
They're both going to get one, but I think Derek Carr is going to throw a interception that's going to be a pick 6.
Stats on the year.
T-Law's
only thrown 3 INTs this year.
Yeah, with how much he's thrown it downfield, he's not giving up a lot. But you got to remember, Carr's coming back from that injury, so he's throwing it more and more downfield, so he's getting comfortable.
Derek Carr's only thrown 3 INTs this year.
But I'd take the Jag secondary over the Saints secondary.
That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard you say.
But
that is the most absurd thing I think I've ever heard you say.
The Jag secondary has been pretty...
So passing yards per game.
Hot takes, baby.
Hold on, where's Jacksonville is 31st. They give up the 31st most.
What, the Jags?
Yeah, so the highest in the league for yards per game in passing is the Chargers, and Jacksonville is
I'm sticking by my
second at 270. That is horrendous. And the Saints are 5th in the league in pass defense.
I told you.
You're taking Jacksonville's pass defense, which is 31st, over the Saints, which is 5th. Wheels, hot takes. There is no understatement.
There's a method behind my madness.
There is zilchy behind his.
Look who they've played.
Look at who's played.
Look who the Saints have played and the Jags.
What do you mean? Didn't the Saints just play like high passing offense? The Houston Texans having the most passing yards in the season, and like, come on, bro. Oh, don't you wave your hand up at me.
The Saints have played the Texans.
Right.
The Patriots.
Okay, that's a bad one.
The Buccaneers.
That's not a bad one.
The Packers.
I think the Packers put over 300 yards up on them.
The Panthers. And the Titans. So 3
Okay,
teams.
so it's 3-3. Then 3 teams, and those 3 teams are pretty bad.
So and they gave up 0 points.
Those might be the bottom 3 teams in the NFL
the
this
Jags
year.
have played the Colts, the Bills, the Falcons, The Texans.
Colts doesn't count. Bills. We're going 50-50 here, though, right? So Colts, Bills,
when they
Falcons.
had Anthony Richards, they played the Colts twice already.
Falcons are a rushing team.
Falcons.
So
Texans,
don't tell me that stats going up because they played the Falcons.
Texans,
the Falcons are a rushing team.
Bills, Colts, Falcons.
The
Texans,
Chiefs have like 200 yards a game. Don't give me the Chiefs bullshit either. I think it's even. It's fair. It's even.
That's what I'm saying.
But they're giving up 100 more yards in the pass.
Yeah, but they're also they played shittier teams. Carolina's bad.
I don't care.
The Titans are bad.
You're still 31st in the NFL.
Are bad.
And you played the Colts.
Twice.
Did they already play them twice?
Yeah, that's what I said. They played.
Oh my God! So you played Minshew and Anthony Richardson.
It would go at Colts, Bills, Falcons, Texans, Chiefs, Colts. They beat the Colts in week 1.
So they didn't play them again then, have they? Did they just? Oh, they played them last week. You're right, week 6, and they beat them with Minshew. God. All right. So if I had to bet on somebody tonight, right, I would take ETN anytime. I would take. This is a Michael Thomas game for me. This is a Michael Thomas game.
I have him.
I think he can get his. Is this his first touchdown of the year? I think this might be Michael Thomas.
He hasn't had a touchdown.
So I might give Michael Thomas his first touchdown of the year in this game because they're gonna need him. I also like for a possible anytime touchdown would be Jimmy Graham.
Call me crazy. I think Taysom Hill has a touchdown in this game.
A rushing touchdown. Passing. They're really, really utilizing him this year, which is kind of weird because I dropped him and I told you, I was like, oh, they're not going to use him anymore. Look at this. But no, they are using
their tight ends out. Juwan Johnson.
I don't know why I think Juwan's probably just a healthy scratch at this point. Like
Taysom's going to be
when they got Foster Moreau back healthy.
Oh, they have and so many mouths to feed.
Jimmy Graham. Yeah, so I think
Jimmy Graham is a shell of himself.
Yeah, but they're utilizing him.
He's a good blocker.
He's good. He's also a good secure the ball guy.
Oh, he is. But
so if you're saying they're the second best secondary in the NFL,
don't be surprised if you have a little trick play and Taysom Hill
Jacksonville's not the second best secondary in the NFL.
No, he's not. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I think that the Saints will have a pick 6.
I'll bet you they won't.
I bet you coffee or a case of Sprite.
I think we're pretty even on both those bets.
I know.
Oh my goodness!
I bet you're on running the show one show.
I thought about it today. Because my throat was killing me. Race ran away as soon as we told him. As soon as we told him
told what to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as soon as we told him to hold off, he ran away.
That's start him, sit him. So obviously, I like Michael Thomas. I like Chris Olave. I like Alvin Kamara.
I like the entire passing team outside of Terrace Marshall.
Yeah. Terrace Marshall.
I did that again. He
actually, speaking of Terrace Marshall, I'm happy you brought that up. He was approved to request a trade.
Sorry, Race. We thought you just ran away.
He asked to request a trade, and they are allowing him to. So he's going to be on the move. And a team that I like are the Colts.
Miami.
They already have a bum Terrace Marshall named Chase Claypool.
I don't like the Colts because
I like Terrace Marshall.
Alec Pierce is better than Terrace Marshall. Josh Downs is better than Terrace Marshall.
And you're not wrong.
I agree. So you want to hear something funny, Race? This will make a joke for you. And I don't know if the person that I'm talking about is watching, so I'm not going to say his name. But this gentleman traded Alvin Kamara for Jerome Ford and Rashee Rice.
Uh-oh, retard alert.
That is the most insane. And he thought that was the most he could get for Alvin Kamara. It is insane.
Excuse me?
So I don't know if Kamara can get a touchdown in this one.
He is. Kamara, I was dead wrong about Eckler. That was the dude at like 45 or 60 yards.
Right, I agree, Ray. This is a horrible deal. I was actually puking when I heard the trade. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. And don't get me wrong, on the upside, Jerome Ford is not a backup. I understand the Kareem Hunt argument. Jerome Ford's not a backup. It's a 50-50 kind of deal. And on the upside, the Browns will be rushing the ball the next 4 weeks. They're going to try to keep above these defenses, and they're just going to try to run the ball out. So I like the upside of Jerome Ford. And I like the upside of Rashee Rice, but we're talking like guys that are not even in the same level as Kamara or have the same potential as Kamara. Unless Rashee Rice turns out to be Tyreek Hill all of a sudden.
Rashee Rice.
And I told you they were going to utilize Rashee Rice. He's the number one receiver on that offense. And I said receiver. Anybody says Travis Kelce, I'm like,
for McCall Hardman, so that's telling. McCall Hardman and
Terrace Marshall.
Maybe Terrence Marshall. They'll add another mid-level C-plus guy to the freaking wide receiver room in the Chiefs.
Dude, that addition.
Jerome Ford is a backup. Yes, he is a backup. You're 100% right.
Yeah!
And I'm a Browns fan.
I got him.
But they're utilizing him good. He ran good against the Niners, so I'll take it.
I got him.
Did you? Good. Fine. Yay! He's been down here forever, just terrorizing us. Did you see what Amon-Ra St. Brown said to his brother?
Amon-Ra.
Miquia St. Brown? Or Equanimous. Sorry.
Equanimous. I knew you were going to screw that name. You threw me off. You threw me off. I was like,
said to Equanimous, as a bear, you can't really say anyone is bad. That's what he said to his brother, because his brother plays for the Bears. That's rough.
Touche. That's pretty bad, though.
But so let's get back to this. Stardoms, obviously, for the Jags are going to be Travis Etienne, Travis, Trevor Lawrence.
I like when you try to fight yourself with names because it's more fun. So T-Law, Etienne, Christian Kirk,
Calvin Ridley.
Did we start Evan Ingram?
And Evan Ingram.
Okay.
This is gonna be.
So you're saying start the offense?
It's gonna be an air raid game for the Jags.
All right. What about Tank? Does Tank look like a possible?
Tank's gonna get like 8 carries for like 12 yards.
Okay. How about Saints? Do we start? I start Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr in this play.
Yeah, I start Derek Carr. Do you start? I have Jamal Williams. Do I start Jamal Williams? Or do I start?
The only way you start Jamal Williams is if you have the bye week blues.
So here's my team this week.
And there's your bye week blues. If you are screwed by the bye week blues, it did it again. There we go. If you are screwed by the bye week blues, I apologize.
Here's my team this week.
All your
it's bad. Kirk Cousins, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, T.J. Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Addison, Brandon McManus, and Baltimore Ravens defense.
You want to know something funny? If I were to tell you my team this week, you'd laugh because I'm not losing anybody. I lost them all week 4.
I have Brandon Aubrey.
I have
Nico Collins out. Jamar
but
Chase out. Joe Burrow out.
I have like 7 Seattle players.
Did you win last week?
You would assume, by the way, that I love Seattle and the Colts because I have everybody on those offenses. No, I should have played apparently.
Zach Moss?
No, the kid out of the Patriots.
Kendrick Bourne.
And I should have played Amari Cooper over Mike Evans. Who would have thought Amari Cooper against the San Francisco 49ers with a backup quarterback?
I'm really hurt.
You should play over Mike Evans against Detroit.
I'm really scared of the trade I made. I hope it works out. Like I said, I traded Amari Cooper and Jacoby Myers for JJ and Cortland Sutton. I'm praying to God that JJ's back in 3 weeks.
So who's winning this game?
I want
to score.
I want to say the Saints. I do. But with that offensive line injuries, it just scares me.
I'm a huge fan of the Saints.
I'm going to take the Jags winning 31 to 24.
Now, so before because I want to make my decision. I want to make my decision as accurately as possible because I am on a hot streak. Do we like Jacksonville just because they're on a hot streak or because they're playing good?
No, I like Jacksonville because they're playing good. Like we said, ever since the London games, they have found stepping stones to prove it, and it's mirroring game to game to game. They're continuing to bring it each game. That Buffalo game, they looked kind of stagnant in the first half, and they took over that game in the second half. They were in control that whole game in the second half, I feel like. So I think this is when Trevor Lawrence is going to have his, I'm legit game. Don't forget that. I can see him putting up like 35 to 30 fantasy points for, I don't know what a lot of teams score for quarterbacks. 35 to 30 is quite a lot for my league. Usually our guys average about like 20 to 25.
I am going to...
I think ETN takes a small step back. I think he has about 18 fantasy points this week. I mean, versus obviously 30. I think he's still RB1 numbers, but not by much. And I think you're going to have Christian Kirk will have a good game, and Calvin Ridley will have the yards.
You know what? I'm sitting here thinking about
Christian
this.
Kirk will have the touchdown. Or two.
Race, if you're listening, this might throw off your whole bet line because I don't know who you trust more.
I don't really like any of the
But
bets in this
if
game.
this is a game that I don't like betting on, I agree with you. If I were to pick anybody in this game, and I always like the defense. Yeah. I really do. I expect the Bears defense to have like 4 to 5 sacks against the Raiders.
They should, because Jimmy G is out.
Is it Hoyer starting?
Brian Hoyer, I don't know if Aiden O'Connell will be back, but Brian Hoyer moves like molasses.
So, but the Saints,
he was like 45.
The Saints
not
here,
really, but
I think I'm going to take the Saints.
Okay.
I think I'm going to take the Saints.
I want to, like I said.
I'm going to say 23-20. It's by a field goal at the end.
Okay. And so you're going more of what I would. So
it's still the over.
Yeah, I was going to take the Saints all day until I kept looking at the injury reports. It's just that offensive line scares me.
But I like the offensive line being injured with Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams back.
100%.
Like,
I get where you. That's where it's like I said. It's a line.
And Kendra's actually huge in the checkdowns.
Kendra, they have a. I don't want to say a 3-headed monster, but they have a very good running back room.
They have probably, if I were to say, like, this is a team that has on paper has one of the deepest offensive like rosters
because
out there.
Honestly, going from Kamara to Jamal Williams, obviously it's a step back, but they're the same player, and then so on and so forth with Jamal Williams.
Not same player.
Well,
Jamal Williams not every down back,
but same aspect of.
He has ability.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams went to a team to be Latavius Murray. He went to a team to be Latavius Murray.
Exactly. I like that. And Latavius Murray went to Buffalo.
Yeah, like that's what he was doing. And Kendra Miller was meant to replace Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
like that was.
But
the goal.
I don't know that he's going to.
No, it's very hard to replace a Kamara. Like Kamara
looks reborn right now.
So, and the other reason why I think there's a conversation to who has more on the line. Jacksonville
100% has more on the line.
Jacksonville has to win this because if they tie against the Texans, but Jacksonville's currently in first place. If they lose, they're still in first place.
But this is
and to be honest, they're still in first place even if they lose because the Colts play the Browns. If the Colts lose, the Browns win. The Colts are still in second, yep. And the Houston Texans are on a bye, so they can't gain a win. Right? They're 3-3. So you're still going to be in first place, and the Tennessee Titans. So this actually might be a game where you do sit T-Law. Maybe you do. I didn't think so, but now looking at the standings, you could pull T-Law early if you are up too. So either of those things could happen. But I really do think the secondary is very good, and T-Law has a habit of turning the ball over.
Yeah.
So like you said, the Saints pick 6 possible. Like this could be a defensive Saints touchdown.
Yeah,
I can see it. I can see it. So that's why
I said Jags pick 6.
You said actually Saints pick 6, but you didn't hear yourself. You didn't hear yourself.
Probably right then.
You probably are right. So I agree with you.
Let's do. I want to do this week. Who's your player of the game? Not counting quarterbacks.
Even though I have the Saints winning, I would still put it on ETN. I think ETN is going to have a rushing game because
my player of the game.
They're going to struggle with throwing the ball, in my mind.
I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. The player of the game for any Chiefs game are going to be the refs.
No, he just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
that's the only reason he said who's your player of the game, because mine would be the refs. If I could bet on the refs making a bad call in a Chiefs game, I would.
They should add that to Vegas. How absurd.
Why? Vegas is controlling the Chiefs game.
Saying, how absurd.
That'd be like Vegas tattling on themselves.
How do you grade it? Oh, there's a bad roughing the passer call, or there's a bad hitting the fenceless receiver call.
And here's the thing, like the whole Browns game, I know people were complaining about that final drive of the Browns. Yes, and I'm okay with those calls because those are controversial calls, and I'm okay with you being upset during those calls.
It came down to a kick. You didn't make it.
Those ones weren't as egregious as some I've seen. It was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad call.
The hold,
but they could have won it with the kick, and it wasn't the ref's fault.
The hold by number 7 that was called was not a hold. 100%, I agree with that. But the getting off the ground and hitting, I think it was David Bell.
It was somebody. It was a call.
That's a penalty because you are not. It says you are not supposed to leave the ground to hit another player, and he
launched.
He launched off the ground. So I agree with that, but yes,
launching is in the rule book. You are not allowed to launch.
The corner safety that got the holding call, that was not holding at all. That was a bad call. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. I'm not going to defend.
But again,
call. But there was on both sides. There was a lot of bad calls on both sides. The face mask that didn't get called when PJ Walker got his neck nearly rung around.
Yep, that's also every game on the Browns. They don't call
Myles
that.
Garrett gets held a lot. They didn't call it. The hold on.
Well, I didn't want to get into that. I'm just trying to say is that like there are times and situations where the refs do make a bad call, and it's
every game.
It is a game time decision. Like I told you, the one with the Giants this past week. A lot of people might not like it, but it's within 5 yards. And you are handsy in 5 yards, and it's a boom, boom call.
And we were on opposites of that.
I can see the ref making that call. I cannot see the ref making that call because I also saw whatchamacallit, Darren Waller's hands on the corner before he released, which could have been considered a push-off. I know he didn't push off. That's not what I'm saying.
But you could.
But I'm just saying, if I was the ref, I could have called it either way. Yeah. So at that point, instead of pissing people off, I just make a no call.
Yeah, and
I let them play it out.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about the ref stuff. So we're all fans, short for fanatics.
Not of refs.
But we always, honestly, I've done it. I'm sure we've all done it. We've always blamed the refs for the win because we never want to hold our team accountable or just say, you know what, that was just a bad game. We just didn't play well. We always try to kind of point the finger at something else, and the refs are the easy target. But in a lot of games this year, we've seen they've been a big target of a lot of the controversial calls.
And it's only certain games. Like you can see
we joke about the Chiefs games, but there were some bad calls.
I'm not joking about the Chiefs game.
But I mean, there's
when you look at the Super Bowl, you look at how they got to both Super Bowls, and you look at the
win against the Jets.
I'm not joking about the Chiefs. The Chiefs thing is you can get a conspiratorial about the Chiefs thing for me.
Zoom in on me real quick.
It's bad.
Super Bowl prediction will be the Chiefs versus the Eagles. The Eagles will win the Super Bowl. And then Jason Kelce will retire under the lights because now you have the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, and you had the Kelce documentary that came out on Amazon.
You think it's a script at this point?
I don't, but I don't be surprised.
Oh my God. Okay, so actually, I'll give you a Super Bowl prediction right now because I had this conversation with my buddy Brandon the other day, and I go, here you go. I know a lot of people are going to hate this take.
Please have the Lions in there, baby.
They've seen the wall of my house. They understand every year is the Browns' year.
Excuse me?
But I'm going to have the AFC, the Browns taking it. And I'm going to have, in the NFC, the 49ers taking it. 49ers.
Rematch of Week 6.
Yep.
Dun it.
With starting quarterbacks.
Deshaun Watson and
Brock Purdy.
Sam Darnold.
Do it.
Nah, I like Brock Purdy.
You know what that crazy thing I heard?
If he does injure himself in the playoffs.
Somebody said that this team is better off under Sam Darnold.
Ryan said that.
No,
Ryan said that to me. He said everybody I've heard has said Brock Purdy is a product of the system, and I completely disagree with them. I completely disagree.
He is to a point. You know, he has a
Sam Darnold sees more ghosts than Brock Purdy's ever seen.
No, I agree. I do not think Sam Darnold's a better quarterback at all.
I think he is. When he came in the league.
Yes, but now he's regressed.
He has seen so many ghosts. When you go watch him in Carolina, he's running from nobody. Nobody.
And that offensive line was not that bad.
You want him to go up against Myles Garrett, TJ Watt? No. Or the Eagles, or Dallas, or even Arizona right now.
Sam Darnold...
Did you see the Bryce Huff?
Was the product of the system in college.
Did you see the Bryce Huff stats?
No.
So Bryce Huff is the Eagles' I don't know what side. I guess weak side defensive end.
So
and he's like first in the league in pressures.
Okay.
And nobody's talking about him. So don't be shocked if you hear a lot of Bryce Huff. And that's JJ Watt. That's brought his name up first.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So JJ Watt brought his name up first, which is impressive.
Oh, I guess
all right. I think that's all you're gonna get from us today, unless you wanna.
Nope.
Unless you got anything else out there.
Final takeaways are: I have the Jags winning. I think it's going to be an air raid game. I think it's going to be.
I want to take the Jags. Like I
hope
seriously want to take the Jags. But I have a feeling that the Saints need it and want it more. And they're home.
And
they're home.
I feel like this is I don't know.
And the Jags on the road.
Because that whole division, that division the Saints are in, the NFC South, it's winnable.
It's tied.
It's winnable.
It's 3. Everybody's 3-3.
Yeah, that's a winnable division for any.
Because that's actually
right now, other than the Panthers.
Well, we weren't counting the first place team.
I mean, you got the Bucks.
God, if they took CJ Stroud, they
Saints,
might still be 0-6.
And you have the Falcons. So I mean, where I revert back is who's the best quarterback in that division right now, and I have to go Baker. As of right now,
Derek Carr is hands down the best quarterback in the division.
Not right now.
He has the longest tenure.
Not with that team.
What do you mean?
He's got a brand new team.
I understand your argument. So you think if Derek Carr had Mike Evans, come on, bro.
He's got Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas is a shell of what Michael Thomas was. A shell. This is a Wheels.
Watch the show.
This is Wheels hot takes at this point.
I was trying to piss you off.
All right, guys.
And I pointed.
All right, let's see. Everybody knows I like Derek Carr. Anybody who's watched this show knows I like Derek Carr.
I hope Derek.
I'm not unbiased on Derek Carr and what he's capable of. And with the injury this year, he hasn't looked like Derek Carr on the Raiders, and he doesn't seem to mesh with this team for some reason.
Derek Carr is not ever a top 10 quarterback, but he's always about a.
Don't say ever.
Other than his MVP, where he snapped his fucking leg in half, he hasn't been
said
top
ever.
10.
You said ever. He was the MVP that year.
I see him being about 15 to 18 is his low as I'll put him. He is a very viable starter that has flashes of being, I don't want to say elite, but
I'll put him in 12.
Great.
Put him in 12.
Yeah, he has flashes of being great. It's just he's not meshing with this team right now, and that's what we said. He's having
something's weird. It's not
like
meshing.
I said, I think him and Olave are having a hard time. He keeps going to this Rashid Shaheed kid, who seems to be his safety valve right now. I feel like
he hits Rashid Shaheed at weird spots too. Like Rashid Shaheed is like he only makes amazing catches, which is weird.
You remember Njoku from a couple years back? He couldn't make the easy catches, but he made
but my point is like that was like 5 catches on the year.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed's already had like 15, and they all look amazing. It's like
he always gets them. Like he's got sticky hands, man.
Good 50-50 balls. Yeah, he is great at 50-50 balls.
He's a very strong receiver.
All right, I think that's all I got for you guys. Don't forget, we will be here Saturday this week, and I will bring fire because I will have been up since midnight, so there will be a lot of energy here on Saturday. We will be going over the Sunday games. We won't be 100% accurate on injuries. We'll try our best to be.
Yeah, it's better than doing a show by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't feel like standing here Sunday morning by myself and having a conversation because you weren't even here on Sunday, so it was pretty lonely over here. And then Wheels jumps in the chat an hour after I get live. So, but that being said, I think that's all I got for you this week. Is that all you got?
Yep.
All right, guys, have a wonderful day and enjoy your week. Good luck gambling.
Later.